I only had about a month of high school online. It was weird, but I wouldn't say it was very difficult. I think the most difficult part was being a senior and ending senior year that kind of way.
My name is Theo Wyss-Flamm, and I just finished my first week of UC Berkeley online. This is always a really stressful moment for students, but this year, freshmen and upperclassmen alike are faced with an unprecedented challenge of a global pandemic that has really redefined the college experience and forced some to reconsider how they want to proceed post-high school. So, I sat down with a few of my peers, mostly over Zoom, to learn a little bit more about how they're all approaching this fall.
My name is Becca Sanderson. Recently graduated from Masterman High School. I'm going to be taking a gap year this year instead of going to college, but when I go next year, I'll be going to Northeastern University.
I'm Kendall Hodges. I'm 17 years old. I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm attending Montclair State University in the fall.
My name is Cameron. I'm 20 years old. I'm about to be a rising junior at Howard University.
I'm Noah Bradley. I'm 18 years old. I'm from Philadelphia, and I was going to be going to Yale University in the fall.
We missed our senior prom, and we missed kind of like the traditional like dinner that we have with like the juniors moving up to seniors. So we just have a dinner with seniors and juniors. We missed that. We missed like our senior recognition and like the awards and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of hard.
In terms of like activities, we didn't have, prom, graduation. I didn't have track season, like I mentioned. We didn't have like Spirit Week, which I think my school does, big thing. They did do that virtually. I thought they did a good job with that, like online games, stuff like that. So that was good. And I thought they did do a good job with our virtual graduation too. It was surprisingly well done.
Sanderson.
Happy graduation! Happy graduation, class of 2020! We love you, Becca.
Theo Wyss-Flamm.
Yay!
Noah Bradley.
High school ended prematurely on March 13th. YouTube graduation was better than expected, but still rather anticlimactic. And my final time at high school was a 15-minute time slot to return a few textbooks. So moving on has really felt like the best option. But for even those college students attending school physically this fall, it'll be a far cry from the typical beginning to a college experience.
For me, it just came down to like online classes, eating in my dorm, limited social life at the school for like one semester, and then being sent home. Didn't feel like it was worth being my first experience in college, and if I waited, I could maybe get more of what I wanted.
You can't, like, all the main events and interactions, those are going to be shut down, or virtual sports, that kind of thing. I'm a huge sports guy, so that obviously was a factor for me. Playing on the team, intramurals, all that kind of stuff.
If the university that you're about to go to is not proposing a plan that makes sense, you as the student ultimately have to make plans before. You can't wait for the university to decide some things. Like, you just have to do it. And then whatever does happen after the fact, you can adjust.
And my thinking was, that's best case scenario. Like, that's not good, even though it's best case scenario. And worst case scenario, COVID comes back, there's another spike because everyone's going back to college now, school shut down, everyone's sent home.
If I was a freshman, it'd be a different conversation. You know what I'm saying? I've already somewhat experienced what Howard is, and so I can be a person that can sacrifice right now for someone else to come on campus. Because let the new freshman class come in campus and the new junior class come in campus, you've got too many people.
Now, since that interview with Cameron, Howard University has canceled all in-person classes and housing for the fall. But the message remains clear. Students shouldn't have to be put in a position where they're forced to make the impossible decision whether to stay home or risk public safety by going. That responsibility should lie on the college.
The only reason I'll see people, out of their dorm is because they're going to practice or they're going to grab something to eat. But, you can't go anywhere without a mask. You have to get tested every time you come to school. So, even if I come home to Philly for like, you know, say I come back for my birthday, I have to get tested and then quarantine for a week when I get to school. So they're trying to keep it as much as a bubble as possible.
For me personally, it hasn't been an easy 6 months since school ended back in March. I committed to UC Berkeley. I took an online summer class, and I tried to make plans for the fall. But for all colleges, and not just Berkeley, it's impossible for students to make informed decisions about what they truly want. Technically, I could have lived at Berkeley in student housing, but I decided not to because it just didn't make sense. I believe there's a time and a place for everything, and now doesn't seem like the time nor the place to be living among thousands of other students in a crowded residence hall. So because of unreduced tuition, conflicting messages, and health concerns, some students are even seeking alternatives to college this fall.
There's a program nearby my house in Fairmount called Outward Bound, and I'm looking to volunteer with them, try and get involved in something with data science because that's what I'm interested in. I want to try and get involved in that respect. And then also just help out with the election, like volunteer at polls and stuff, because I know it's going to be really tricky with that for some people who aren't going to be able to get to polls.
I had a job with an organization that does, like, you know, get out the vote canvassing, and then they had to switch to an entirely online platform because a couple of their people got sick, and then they had to do a hiring freeze. So I lost the job. I was offered the job on a Wednesday, accepted it on Monday, was supposed to start the next Monday, got a call that Wednesday that I lost the job. So like everything's up in flux right now, and you know that's kind of annoying when you're trying to make plans that like a lot of people don't know what they're doing themselves, so it's hard for them to like include you in it.
It's not an easy moment to be a recent high school graduate, looking towards the future with little guidance and no obvious path set out for us. But my hope is that these past 6 months will have taught me and my peers that it's okay to deviate from the path that's laid out for us. Pitfalls happen, and we just gotta roll with the punches. So, I'm just trying to get through the semester. I'm working in the mornings at a nearby store, and in the afternoons I'm taking online classes. My hope is that the spring will bring some good news.
I don't really feel confident that I feel like kind of a little bit the odd man out among my friends. I think, and you know, I don't really want to be home with my parents for another year. I was ready to go until, like, obviously this isn't really what I want to do, but hopefully I feel at the end of it that it was the right thing to do and that in the long run it'll work out for me.
I think for the rest of the year, or for the rest of whenever we get this vaccine or kind of figure out this virus and get it under control, I think what I'll gain is kind of like a more conscious way of how I'm spending my time, money, how I'm using the time of the day in a more efficient and helpful way, rather than just kind of taking each day like I have the next one at my disposal. Because, you know, this came as a surprise to everyone. No one was prepared, and, you know, I would do anything to have a normal day where I don't have to wear a mask or something like that. So
I think my biggest thing is, you know, a couple months ago, I was just saying, you know, my hope was that things were going to be back to normal. And I think the reality of the situation for me is that things will never be back to normal the way they used to be. And so I think I wouldn't use the word hopeful, but, you know, I'm curious about to see how things will be at the end of this, or, you know, as we start to transition into some new change. Like, what does that look like?